Welcome to another episode of DTM and Then Some. So no, we are doing the most and then some. I'm your host, Stephanie Elise, joined by my lovely co-host.
Brittany Elise.
I gotta figure
Hello.
that out. There we go. Brittany Elise. How you doing today, Britt?
I am good. And yourself?
Good, good. Today we are going to be talking about, as our title episode describes, the perfect blend, aka blended families. And to join us for that conversation, we have a dear friend of mine and friend of the podcast here, Miss Jade Hughes. Welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
We're excited to have you here.
Yay.
So, let's give everyone a little background on Miss Jade. Miss Jade, here you are. What are you? Are we 6 months into the married life now?
Wait, hold on, let me see.
It might not be
We're
6.
like 4 months. You're like 4 months here. Yes, I'm feeling my
Congratulations.
thanks, guys.
Welcome. Welcome to the
Hey.
club, boo.
Girl, thanks, girl. I be all, looking, my ring. Yeah, so we're still in the honeymoon phase, kind of, sort of, but I'm happy. I did a good thing, He did a great thing because he got all of this. No.
That's right.
Amen.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been great. We got married in September, during the whole pandemic. We had a little micro wedding. And we have 7 kids altogether. So when we first started dating, he had 4 and I had 1. And then we have our 2 babies together.
Oh.
So
What is the age range for the 7 children? What's the age range?
So crazy thing, guys, I'm at every stage of parenting in my household. So we have 5 girls, 2 boys, and their ages are 20, 18, 12, 11, 9, 3, and my daughter will be 2 in March.
Wow, that is every stage.
Yes, so we got that young adulthood, teenage, preteen, toddler. Yes.
That's a busy household. I love it.
Never a dull moment, okay? It's always lit over at my house, okay?
Always lit.
It's always lit.
Wow, okay, so that's it. So the youngest are 2 and 3. Oh, so you're in that potty training stage, or we just finish it?
No. So we about 75% there. So I end up getting them. This is gonna sound crazy. I end up getting him a potty watch because I was like at my wit's end. I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to do this anymore. I'm crying like, God, like, why can't they get it? So somebody sent me a thing on Instagram about the potty watch. So basically it's a watch that has like a timer set in for 30, 60, and 90 minutes. And so I got set for 30 minutes. They get excited about it. It lights up, it sings a song, and they be like, time to the bathroom. And so I mean, we're working on pooping right now. But I mean, we 75% of the way there. I haven't bought any diapers in a while. So we
nice.
getting there.
Wow. I mean, I don't miss that at all. So kudos to you. You got 2 going through it at the same time. That's woo.
And them boys are difficult. Them boys, girl. The boys are the worst. Yeah, my daughter, she's like picking up pretty quick. My son is just like, I don't know. So, got the little babies though.
Oh.
Nice.
Yep, so we have them, and then I mean, he has a large family, so it's just like it's always a lot of kids over here. So I mean, like, it's definitely been a huge transition. Again, coming in with 1 kid has been eye-opening because when I had my son, my daughter was 9, so I was like, I had already accepted that I was probably not gonna have any more kids. I was good, and then boom, here's Xavier. So it was starting over in addition to blending. So it was interesting.
There's a lot of life changes that happen with your blend there.
Absolutely.
Been watching. You've been handling it like it's no big thing. I would have been checked in to Betty Ford by now or something because I'm not built that way.
It honestly takes a lot of prayer because everybody has their own personalities, and you just gotta learn to kind of deal with it. And then you hear people say like, well, once you have 2 kids, you can have 3 kids, 4 kids, and that is truly the model. Like once you have a couple, Having two more is not any different. It's, you know, you just create your schedule and how your house is going to flow, and then that's just how it goes from there. So it definitely was a struggle at the beginning. However, now, I mean, everybody knows we got boundaries set up and all this other stuff. So it's like, we're good now.
Nice. So that's an interesting point. So you say everybody has their own personality. So with a household, so there's 7 children, and then you and your spouse. So that's 9 personalities.
Yeah.
How do you cater to each of them without any of them feeling, I don't want to say neglected, that's not the word, like, but to get like a group consensus to do something? How do you do that with a group of 9?
So first you just have to like remember. First you have to remember, basically everybody's different. So like my daughter, you know, she knows me from birth, so she knows my expectations. She kind of already knows how everything's supposed to flow. She knows how I'm gonna react. The other kids kind of fall in line. But I mean, basically, like, I know that my son, you gotta tell him, he's 18. I gotta tell him over and over, like, you know, this is what we need to do. You know, you can't give him 3 tasks at once. Like, you just have to know each kid individually. And there's not gonna necessarily be a time when it's like, no one gets like, oh, jealous, because they do. And so what we learned to do, and what we were even talking about recently, is like, everybody has to have their own time, and we have to be okay with them each having their own time individually with us, because although they go to their other parents and, you know, their houses aren't as full as ours, we have to be able to be like, sometimes I take one to the store and not the other. Sometimes I'll sit and watch TV with one and not the other. And I just explain to them, no, it's time for me to spend time with this one right now, you know, and this one, even with my 3-year-old, I know that he's like, okay, I want some attention. So if that's sitting down watching Power Rangers or doing my, we just have to really be intentional about our time and explaining to our children, like, at the end of the day, we're going to spend time with you each individually, but we do a lot of family stuff together as well.
Nice. Now, Brittany, I know you as well have a blended family situation.
I do.
Situation. Let me just stop that now. I'm not going to say it's not a situation. You have a blended family. Love it. Do you care to share about your blended family?
Sure. So my story is a little different in the fact that, so me and my husband have been together for 10 years. We have 2 kids, my son, who is not biologically mine, and my daughter, who is biologically mine. When I met my husband, my son was maybe 3 or 4 months. So I've literally been in his life his entire life. A little different from that. I mean, we got married when he was, I was doing the math the other day, 7. If he's 17 now, yeah, we just made 10 years. So yeah, we got married when he was 7, and yeah, he's pretty much lived with us full time, going on 5 years now. So definitely, and we used to have him the whole summer as well. So every year, his whole entire life. So a little different in that fact, but just to speak on some of the things that Jade spoke about, for me, it was when I met my husband. Again, I was young. You know, he was young. He had my son when he was young. And so his whole thing was, this is my responsibility. So a lot of the things, you know, from a very, very young age, like I didn't change any of his diapers. I think I can count on one hand all the diapers I changed. And it wasn't because I didn't want to. It's my husband was literally like, no, I got it. This is my responsibility. And I'm like, I don't mind helping. No, I got it. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, look, if I ain't got to change the diaper, I'm not going to, you know, go out of my way to do it. But, you know, same thing, just with him being around me for his entire life. Like, he knows what to expect. He knows how I react to everything. It is even now though, like, again, he's been with us for full time, 4 or 5 years. But like my daughter, I guess because she's like, it's kind of hard to explain, but he gets it. And so he tries to teach her. And then she's just like, well, I got this. Like, she wants to run the house. And it's like, no, but we got rules around here. So you would think it'd be like the other way around, but it's more so that she just she wants to make her own rules, whereas he knows what the rules are, what the expectations are, what he's going to get away with, what he's not going to get away with. And then that's the other thing, like with us only having two, it is easier to spend time with the two of them, but they also are so similar. So both of my children are Libras. So they both require balance. Like they need consistent balance. So it's like most time I laugh because I would say 80% of the time he's with my husband, and 80% of the time she's with me. And then they both get kind of thrown off, and we're like, okay, y'all gotta switch. Like it's time for some daddy daughter time. It's time for some mommy son time. And they're always like, they like it. They both look forward to it, but it's just different for them because it's like that's my little road dog. That's his little road dog. Especially since it was just me as the only female in the house for so long. Like, so as soon as she was born, I was like, yeah, girl, like we're gonna do everything girly, because I used to take my son everywhere all the time. Modern mom on the move is not something that was created just because of her. Even him, right. I would take him all the time, me and him somewhere at some event celebrating something. So it was it's the norm for him. But as he got older, it was just like, I just want to chill. I just want to chill with my dad. Like he's doing car stuff, I want to do car stuff. He's just hanging around, I just want to hang around. Like he really looks up to his father, which I think is amazing. And she's the same way. She wants to do any and everything I do. So I would say that's kind of the situation here. I'm trying to think of any other like little different things. Because it's kind of hard, like I said, because he has been, like most people, like Stephanie will tell you, when she was like, I forgot you have a blended family. Like most people don't realize that he's not my mom.
That's not even the word. I didn't even realize. I was like, how is he not your?
Yeah, that's how a lot of people are. Like they have no clue. Like even people who are gonna watch this will probably be like, what? Mm-hmm. You sure? I'm like, you would never know. I never refer to him as my stepchild, my bonus child, nothing like that. That's my baby. I'm gonna discipline him like I would discipline the younger one. I love him like I love the younger one. I go just as hard for him, if not harder, most of the time, because I feel like she has it easier with her dad spoiling her to death. So a lot of times I feel like I go even harder for him. But yeah, it's cool. Like I couldn't see it any other way, like at all, at all. So
definitely, yeah. I wanted to explore this topic today because I just feel like though the landscape is honestly getting more to almost a 50-50 split where you have blended families just as regularly as you have the non or the traditional family. Mm-hmm. But it's not really discussed. So people still have that old 1950s, whatever year came from, taboo feeling about it. And I just think it's, honestly, I think a blended family is something that is not even more precious than a traditional family, but like you have to work harder to make that harmonious. Mm-hmm. Because you're taking people that are already used to being a certain way and you are introducing this new family structure. Whereas in a traditional family, you just birth them into it.
Yeah.
They don't know anything else. So really, I feel like more credit needs to be given to people doing blended families, because we also know it's not easy just to have a traditional family. That's why you have so many blended families.
Correct.
If a traditional family was easy, you wouldn't have a blended family because we'd all still be with the person we started it with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's why I just wanted to really explore this with us, because here at DTMS, I'm like, our viewership can very well be a lot of blended families, and
right.
I just think we want to embrace everybody with what we're doing here and give everyone pointers. And that's why I'm very excited that Jade, you're able to join us, because you also fit into our niche where, girl, I don't know how many daggone businesses you run in, but I'm tired. So explain to me how you work in your mom entrepreneurness into this whole dynamic, and how does it benefit you in building your blended family and the harmony in your house with it?
It's a huge benefit being an entrepreneur. So we have 3 businesses. Our goal is to have 7. So 1 for each child. That is the plan.
I love
Oh,
that.
I love that.
Yeah, 1 for each child. So that way at the end, I mean, they have an option to either join entrepreneurship or just, go into the workforce. I mean, I think as a community, we strive to really want to push our kids entrepreneurship, but it's really a tough thing in itself. But for us, it works because number one, I have 2 kids back to back, and daycare is very expensive. So that helps totally right there to be able to set a schedule with them. I am really, really, really big on schedules. My husband used to be like, that was foreign to him because we're both second time married, so he's like, oh, we didn't do that at mother house. We didn't do that. And I'm like, no, we have to have a schedule because I need them to go to sleep at 9 o'clock so then I can relax for a second. But on top of that, we get up 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, do business stuff. Then by the time the babies or the girls get up for school and the babies get up, that's parent time. And then we have nap time. So, I mean, for me, it's setting a schedule and knowing that I really have to stick to like my to-do list. Because one slip of anything could mean something detrimental, and that's how we feed our family. So the good thing is we balance each other. My husband and I, we work really well together, and it's really crazy because I've grown up. I'm from a blended family. Never looked at it as blended. Never thought anything. My dad was their dad. Like it was never in my mind anything. But just watching my parents, they're both ex-military, and the way that they run their house, like they're like never really around each other because they work so much. To where Mark and I are together every day because we're business partners and we're parents. So that helps in so many aspects because there's things that I might need to get done and he can watch the kids and vice versa. We don't have to worry about clocking in and out, going to work and doing all those things. So it really helps being able to be at home, being able to connect with all the kids. Holidays and every other weekend we have them, so we're able to structure things better. So like I can plan out, doctor's appointments, everything's not just pushed the weekend. Then I can actually spend time with them, and we can have our one-on-one time, our family time together. So I mean, it's definitely been a blessing with having a blended family and being an entrepreneur because we are able to be way more active.
And so I have a follow-up question to that, Jade. Did you all start the businesses once you got together, you and your husband, or did one of you already individually have your companies? Just curious how that worked.
So my husband, he had already owned a tax company, and him and his brother. And so I was coming from, traditional corporate, and he's just like, you should quit. And I'm like, I'm not about to quit. Like, no, this is security. I'm not doing that. He's like, you gotta just trust me. You gotta trust me. So I got pregnant with my son. He was like, okay, I don't want you to work. Like, I would feel better if you just stayed at home. I want you to be able to see what it's like to be able to stay at home, So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take that. In the midst of all that, then he's like, we're going to open our own tax company. And I was like, okay, I'm going to help you. But remember, I'm staying at home. Like, that's your baby. But I'm going to help. And then, I mean, he's a Scorpio. He's very impulsive. So, I mean, he'll be like, oh, I went and signed up and did this LLC for this business. I'm like, wait. What business are we doing now? Like, hold on. We went from tax companies and now what are we doing? And I was really, really skeptical at the beginning. I was like, I don't know how this is going to work. How we going to get this insurance? We got these kids. It's just been a blessing. I never expected or anticipated being an entrepreneur and having my own business in this aspect. So it's been really, really great. But yeah, he's actually the one who kind of pushed me into it.
Well, that's beautiful. Yeah, because I was just curious if that was something you all blended or how it came to be. So that's good to know. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, so he's really he's really into that. Like he's not really a good employee. And I can say that because I always tell him he works for me. So he's not really a good employee. So I always knew that the corporate thing wasn't going to be for him. But this is just, it's crazy how things are lined up. And the funnier thing is, I don't know if that's about manifestation or anything, but even in middle school, I'd be like, I'm going to have 6 kids. I'm going to have 6 boys. I'm going to just have, forever. And I'm like, wow. I literally thought I was going to birth 6 children. I didn't think that this was going to be how it was. And I'm not saying that in the negative. I'm just saying, like, I just didn't think, like, you crazy. I mean, I've said that even after I have my daughter, I'm still gonna have me somewhere. I'm gonna have 6. And then right when we conceived my son, I was at peace. It was just my daughter. I just bought her a dog because I wasn't even having no more babies. I was like, oh, we don't need more kids. And even dating my husband, originally I was like, we can date, but I don't see this going anywhere because you have a lot of kids. And that's
No, it's
I was
funny.
like, oh no.
No, it's funny you say that, because when I met my husband, again, we were younger, but that was one of my no-nos. That was a no-no on the list. I was like, oh, I don't date guys with kids. And I remember one day we were like on a date really early on, and he was just like, yeah, my son, da-da-da. And I was like, what? He was like, my son. I was like, well, how old is he? And he told me. I was like, oh, like, he's a baby. He's like, yeah. And I was like, I don't know. It was just, I think it was, I look back, it was the pride when he said it, at that point, most people who had kids, I don't want to say it was disappointment, but it wasn't the same. Like when he said it was like, my son, like when I was like, oh, wow, to the point that like one of our second dates, actually, he was like, oh, I got to stop and get some diapers. And I was like, oh, like you're a real parent. Like, okay. But again, I respected that because it was just, we were young, and a lot of people, of course you do what you got to do. You got to take care of your responsibilities, but to have that pride and, to make sure that, he was the number one priority, to me, that was even more attractive, whereas I thought it would be like a situation like, I don't want to deal with no baby mama, none of that. And it was the opposite way around. So I definitely understand what you mean about that. And he too is a bad employee, so that's why he owns his own business as well. And then one last thing I have to say about the manifestation, it's so crazy you say that. So the tagline for Modern Mom on the Move is speak it, believe it, achieve it. And this year for our 5th conference, the theme is actually manifesting. So that's crazy. Because you're right, you don't know what you're going to speak into the world. You really don't. But
I think people, when you talk about manifestation, it's going to happen quickly. This is going to happen. With my ex-husband, I thought we were going to have 6 kids and this was just going to be life. So I didn't expect it like this. And then to piggyback off of what you said, on top of that, my husband there's 2 other parents. Like there's 2 moms. So
okay.
On top of that, I was like, oh no, I'm not dealing with 1. I got to deal with 2. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. And I was like, I only got one kid. Like that's different. And so at first, I was really, really skeptical. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. And then they were older. So when I entered Michaela, who's the oldest, she was 15. And when we first moved in together, she literally, when she would come over on the weekends, would go in the back room. She'd say hi and go in the back room and stay there until my picture on Sunday for weeks. And he was like, you need to go in there. And I was like, listen, I know teenagers and she will come talk to me when she wants to, but I was really big on not forcing the relationship because her and my son NJ, they're older. So I'm like, they understand kind of what happened. They know what the divorce is, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to force myself on them. So, I don't tell them to call me mom or anything like that. My daughter, who's 9, who lives with us full time, she calls me mom. And I told her, you don't have to do that. I want you to be comfortable. And I mean, she's so all inclusive. She loves everybody. She's like, no, you my mom. And that's what it is. But it's those things, learning those things about kids and not forcing yourself on them and building a genuine relationship. Because even when I had my son, I didn't know if we were going to like be together. I wasn't rushing marriage because I had already gotten divorced, and so I was like, yeah, because we got this kid, don't mean we gonna get married. So, but we had to remember it's not just about us because we're adults. We can get over bad relationships and breakups, but we combined all these children, and so we can't. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, literally, they call and tell me everything. We talk. All of them to the point. Sometimes I ask the older two, like, y'all talk to your parents about this? Because I feel like I know a lot of information, like too much information, and I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling people or if I'm supposed to keep it to myself. I just need to know if, it's some other things. And Marcus, I was like, well, they just tell you everything. And what are they talking about? I'm like, I'm not breaking that trust. You know what I mean? It took a long time to get there. So no, unless it's something I think is going to be harmful to themselves or someone else, it's not that serious. I'm going to give them advice just like I would give Riley advice. You know what I mean? So it's so funny. Yeah, girl.
And I like that you brought up the younger children because that was more of a transition actually in our household. Like I said, compared to my son, because like I said, he was just always in our lives, or in my life. So when my daughter got of age and it was time for him to go, with his mom on the weekend, she was like, "Where's he going?" And we're like, "Oh, to his other mom's house." And she's like, "Do I have another mom?" Like she just, it was, explaining the whole thing to her, because like you said, she didn't understand it. So, it took a while for her to get it. She gets it now. So she'll be like, "Is this weekend? He going over there? What time you coming back? You coming back over there?" Because he has other siblings over there as well. So he has 3 little brothers and 2 little sisters. So he's the oldest on both sides. But yeah, so he she's always like, "So who you over there with? Let me see your other siblings." I'm like, "Leave him alone. He will be back." Some weekends he don't
That's
even.
how my little ones are.
It's crazy, like trying to explain it to them, because again, it's all, like you said, like Stephanie said, it's all they've ever known. So they're just like, "Wait, so you got somewhere else to go?" Well, I remember she said, "Well, where am I going this weekend?" "Nowhere, boo." Nowhere.
Right.
Look, unless I can find somebody to watch you, then you're free to go. You're free to go.
That part.
There you go. That part with the baby.
Okay. No, go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say, with the babies, they'll FaceTime them, and they'll be like, "Well, where'd they go?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're at their mom's house," or now I just call her by name, or they're at such house or whatever. And they're like, "Oh, okay." And so they'll call them, and they'll be talking to the other moms like, "Hey." And so at first they'll be like, if they're talking to their mom, they're calling them. So they'll be like, "Hey, mom," and I'll be like, "That's their mom." I'll be like, "You know what? Too much to explain. Just say hey." Like.
It reminds you of that movie that my daughter loves, Home, with the guy from Big Bang Theory and
because my mom.
With my mom. That's kind of it is with the little ones. They don't really get the difference. And with my son, like I said, from the beginning it was always like that. But I'll never forget, like at the wedding, there wasn't a dry tear in the house, because everybody got to get up to say their speeches, and he got up and he was just like, "I'm so happy that you're, officially my mom now, and that you'll be in my life forever." And I was just like, I mean, like everybody just like, it was funny because the videographer didn't even catch that scene, because like he was crying, but the photographer like literally has it, but it's like the photos like this, because I think he was putting the camera down while he was crying. So yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful moment. And I'm just grateful for him, because he has like the biggest heart ever. And even like a lot of times he's on my side more than he is on his dad's side. I'm like, that's what you get. But like you said, it's the same thing. Like when it comes to that trust and that relationship, a lot of times he'll come and talk to me about stuff, and or he'll tell me something first, and my husband's like, "Wait a minute, he didn't tell me that." And I'm like, "Oh, my bad." Or like you said, same thing. If he tells me something in confidence, I'll keep it to myself until he's comfortable with telling his dad. And I think that's how it should be. I feel like even as she gets older, if there's certain things she's more comfortable talking to my husband about than she is comfortable talking to me about, do you, boo? I just want, like you said, it's about them feeling safe and secure, and with their parents in a relationship. So that's what it is for me. Like, I didn't grow up in a blended family, but to me, this is. So some people are like, "Oh, is it different?" No, it's not. We don't do. So Jay, do you guys do a lot of joint things together with the kids, like birthdays and stuff? How does that work? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
So I do try, like with the older two with their mom. Michaela is a sophomore in college, and MJ, he's about to graduate. So like for the graduation, I'll reach out to her, and like I just do him a surprise 18th birthday party. So like I'll reach out to her and be like, "Well, do you want to do it?" And I just want to open the door. But we haven't really done anything, and so we kind of do our thing, and they do their thing. But it's not because there's an issue. I want everybody to feel comfortable, but at the end of the day, if we all want to do our own thing, then that's fine too. It just is what it is. It doesn't bother. We've all gotten to a point where it is really about the kids. So at the end of the day, I'm, with my 9-year-old, she's in the 3rd grade. Her mom and I talk probably more than Mark and her talk. Like, if she get in trouble, I'm like, "So this happened at school today," or, "And this is a problem I'm kind of having. Are you dealing with this at home too?" Because then I tell her, and I tell her mom, like, this is your daughter. That is your mom. I'm not trying to step in the middle of that. I can't compete, and I'm not trying to, but I'm a co-parent, so we gonna do this together because it takes a village. And as long as we all respect that and we do that, I'm not going to steer them wrong. I don't treat them differently. Riley knows she'll catch it just like the rest of them. And at first, I was really like tiptoeing and was like, "Oh, are you guys okay? And you want to go do this and that?" And start taking advantage of me. And I'm like, "Oh, so I'm tell you something. I'm gonna give you the real, and this is what y'all gonna get, because if she gonna catch it, everybody gotta catch it." So they'll know, like, if I raise my voice or I start yelling, I'll be like, "Oh, here she go. Let me just because I be like, y'all, and they love being over here. Like, I have to literally force them to go to the other parents' house. Like, with virtual school and everything, I'm like, nope, I don't want that responsibility. You guys gotta go to your mom's house. Or like for breaks, I try to split breaks up. So if it's 10 days, 5 days with us, and 5 days with the other parents, they'll stay the whole time. And I feel bad because I'm like, they want to do stuff with y'all too. It's not just us, but they all love being over here. And so I'm like, as long as we all got to understand and we keep that schedule, because I do like my weekends where it's not so many people here sometimes. But as long as we're all cool, I mean, it's good. But I'm going to try to start incorporating doing more stuff. I just want everyone to feel comfortable. And I don't know if the moms always feel comfortable enough to do it together. So I just kind of, offer it if not a big deal. And I don't tell the kids. I'll offer it on myself. So that way, if we do it together, it's a great thing. I don't want them expecting, we're going to be one big happy family.
Correct. Yeah, I think in his entire life, we've only done 2 joint parties. So one time when he was younger, like maybe 3, let's say 4. He was like 3 or 4. We did she did a party and invited us. And so we went to that. And then when he was, I think, like either 14 or 15, he actually said he wanted to do a dinner party. Like he wanted us all to go to a restaurant. And so we did that. And then, afterwards we still just did something ourselves because, like you said, that's the norm. Like, we don't, and again, it's not no hard feelings. We just don't ever do any events together for the most part. Now we'll now he's getting older. We'll have discussions about things like, okay, well, like, he's about to take his driving test. Okay, look, we gave him a car. We're just gonna let you know, as soon as he passes the test, he actually has a car, so that's things like that we'll have discussions about. Or same thing, the whole playing against each other. And that was definitely a thing when he was younger. And so I nipped that in the bud. Like I did, I probably overstepped, as people would say, but I just like literally had to pull both of them aside. I was like, look at here. I see what's happening, and he's telling you what you need to hear, and her what she needs to hear to get his way. And we're gonna all nip this in the bud, and we're gonna be a united front, because that's what we're not gonna do. Because if you allow us to start now, it's gonna be forever. So he knows, if he gets in trouble here, he in trouble over there. If you get in trouble over there, we're gonna hear about it.
Is it on that?
It's usually a 3-way call.
Is it on that topic? So let me ask you this. Go ahead, Jade.
So I'm gonna say, so like with one of the parents, she's really good at making sure like we're on the same page. With the other mom, her parenting style is so different, and I had to learn like, okay, because like to me, if something serious, like for example, failing a class or not turning your work is unacceptable. I don't care what they tell you at school. In my house, there's no reason, because your only job is to go to school. Like that's all we expect from you. And to where we're like, there's no PlayStation, no this, no that, this is that. Their mom just be like, well, I told them and I got my degree. So like, if they don't want to do this, I'll be like, wait, sis, hold on. Like, I can't be punished over here for days. And then, you know what I mean? And then if we're buying stuff, like the car, like, if I buy something, I feel like I just bought my 12-year-old phone, and I tell her, mom, like, if she not turning her work or she being disrespectful, you take that phone. Like, she don't need it. Like, no, we gonna punish her. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to be understand. But she's so like, and it's so like, sis, we gotta do this together because it don't work for me, And plus, I'm not their mom, so like me yelling at them, they be like, whatever. You're my mom.
Yeah. So I will say I've experienced both with his mother. I've experienced times where she's on board with us, and it's like, yep, what they say, that it goes. And then there's other times where, like you said, it's a punishment that we implement, and we went through a phase where it was like, oh, that's your house. In my house, we do this. So for us, it was just like, okay, well, unfortunately, and I'm gonna just put it out there, like you said, I'm an open book like you. I will say he probably got it worse when he got back over here because it's like, look, you want punishment. So even if you go over there and she says you can play X, Y, and Z, we said no. So if it's anything that we provide, like the phone, like we've always been the provider of the phone. Oh, no problem. We're taking them before you go. Not an issue. But other things, like you said, like the game and things like that we can't control, you can't get around it. But then what happens is, okay, when you get back here, what would have been, a week's punishment or 2 weeks, that thing just got extended.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, because it's like at the end of the day, you're right. You can't control anybody else's household, but you're still our child, and our rules still go. So either you can get this full punishment as a village, or you're just gonna get extended on this side of the street. Right. It's not a big deal. You're gonna get it one way or the other.
Right.
So that's how
idea. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no, that's how we dealt with it, seriously. Because like I said, we've been on both sides of the spectrum. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
So both of y'all actually touched on this, but I want to bring up the whole building trust with the counterparts. And for what I'm gathering is that's crucial. That's crucial for your blended families to be harmonious. And it's not always going to be every single day that's going to be the case, but you might have 10 months of great harmony among the other parts, and then we ain't riding for a day, a year, whatever. It is what it is. But I think you guys both did actually a really good job on touching on that and how important that is. That's something I feel some people in blended families, they don't, like, oh well, that's not in our house, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But you do, because the child you care about, they're going into the world, they're already fighting the world.
Correct.
They don't then need to be confused by a strenuous relationship between you and the other most important people in their lives.
Yeah.
So I think y'all actually touched on that pretty well. It don't mind me if I just sit back here the rest of this whole episode. I'm fine with that, y'all. Y'all doing a great job. Y'all done touched on that.
Go ahead, Jay.
All day on that.
Yeah, no, seriously, because that's a major part of it, quite frankly. And like I said, me being in this situation for this blessing for 17 years, it is, like I said, it's back and forth for sure. What I will say is, even when we were not on a quote unquote united front, we always put on a united front for him. Like we always pretty much agreed that for him we would have that, especially like I said, with him being a Libra. It was like when the times that we were not, it was, you could see it instantly in his behavior. You could see it instantly, in his demeanor towards us, towards him, towards her, the whole nine. So it definitely played a part, and again, it's been different, depending on it changes. I would say, I guess it's the best way to say it, but I will say as we grow and because again, they, had him at a young age, as we all grow, there's been a lot of maturity, and that definitely, I will say maturity takes you, takes you to the next level in anything, even in your regular marriage, what you may be doing at, year 1 and year 10 is like, what, we know better than this, so on and so forth. So I think it's definitely a maturity thing. As your relationship grows, then, you understand how to deal with things better, or how to approach things better. Like at one point they literally had no conversation, quite frankly. I was the mediator. Hello. Yes. What do we need? Oh, gotcha. All right. No, we're not rocking like that. Like that was literally, that was a phase we went through. Like it's phases, and, I'm just grateful to God that, he allowed all 3 of us to grow up, quite frankly. So, as they get older, like to your point, Jay, with the older kids, they do know what's going on, and they are aware of it. So you just have to be, mindful of that and be respectful of that too. I think sometimes trying to sugarcoat things offends them more than anything. So we try to make sure, like with my son, look, no, we're not trying to, sugarcoat anything. This is what it is. This is how it's going to be. And, and sometimes he'll come to us and say, look, I don't like, I don't like this. And we always tell him, be as honest as possible with us. You know, if it's something that we're doing that you see there could be improvement, you can always come to us as long as you're respectful. Now you're not gonna come through here
Right.
like wop 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 because you're gonna get wop.
Yeah.
But you can
Facts.
always come and have a conversation and say, look, with all due respect, I don't appreciate this, or this is happening, da da da. We're always respectful of that. And you can, even in the moment, if it hurts your feelings, you can do nothing but respect it. So
I totally agree with that. I know with my 9-year-old, so she lives. So our dynamics are the my 18-year-old, 20-year-old, and the 12-year-old. They live with their mom. Well, the 20-year-old, she's grown, so she kind of goes between school and her mom's house and our house or whatever. You're not gonna put the quotations on grown because 20 ain't grown. You still got to live with me. But our 9-year-old, she lives with us full time and not with her mom. So there are just a lot of different things we deal with as far as that. And then her mom wanting her, full time. So sometimes it's like, oh yeah, we're really on one accord and everything is great. However, I can only imagine not having my kid full time and how that affects a girl not being with her mom, and my husband's like, well, how do you think men feel? I'm like, yeah, but it's like typical for kids to live with their mom. So it's a little different. And so, like you said, there's been times that we just didn't talk. There were times that that they didn't talk, that I'm the one doing all the talking and mediating and putting in the group messages and trying to like not say exactly what he said in his text message. So that way, you know what I mean? So I think they've learned, and like you said, they grow and mature. And at the end of the day, I'm like, look, with any extra time I got this, they out of school extra day, you want to come get it? Like, I'm trying to do everything because I know how important it is for them to be close and for all of us, like you said, just be together. But it is a lot and it takes some time. And then you might think, oh, we've been doing good for a year. And then at 13th month, you be like, whoa, what happened, sis? I thought it was good. Why you mad at me? Like, why? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What happened? You know what I mean? Or the kids are acting crazy. So I'm like, so what we doing? Hey y'all, hey team, what we doing? And everybody's like, well, it's not that bad. Or I'm like, listen, I can deal with y'all. Yeah, oh, this how I want to act. So there was a lot of times I'll be like, I'm not doing it. Y'all talk to each other. I got my situation on lock. Like, you don't have to. I know it's not supposed to think when you marry, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, me and my ex good. We do this whole parenting thing. It's not an issue, and that's just something totally different. But let me ask you this question. So, I guess it's a little different. So, like with my ex-husband and my husband have never really actually had a conversation, which is very interesting.
okay.
The way I talk to and it's not for any reason. It's just like I felt like I can handle it. Like I don't really necessarily need you guys to talk like that. Now, if it comes down to it, if you really need to like talk to him about idea or something like that, I have no problem. But to me, it was never a thing. They don't have conversations like I have with the other moms. And I think that's always interesting because even my sister-in-law, she's just like, oh yeah, well they met. I was like, oh for real, y'all did that? But of course, that's what I did. I met and talked to them or whatever. But the dynamics are just a little different. And I think the biggest thing with co-parenting with the other parents is you have to already know to expect. So you can't be surprised about everything. So like after a while, people's patterns and behaviors are about the same. So you're like, I mean, I expected that from this. Like my husband, there's things like he might do, and I'd be like, this man here. However, I've known him since I was 18. I would expect for, you know what I mean? So to me, it's nothing to get all up in arms about to where my husband be like, well, you don't think that? And I'd be like, no, that's something he would do. Like, it's not a big deal. So, it's just a lot of dynamics in the co-parenting adult world and everybody getting over the breakups, the relationships, the past hurt, the trauma, all that stuff. I tell everybody therapy helps. We go, let's talk about it. Let's get that all out and how you feel. And I need you to apologize to her and apologize to her. I don't even know what we apologizing for, but let's do it so we can raise these kids because, you know what I mean? It's so important. Other parents, they're so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't take that away, you know what I'm saying? But every time you be like, girl, I'm not today.
No, I mean, and you make a good point about the dynamic. I'll give an example. So his mother did not start dating again or get with anyone serious until he was about 6 or 7-ish, I guess would be the age. And to this day, her and the boyfriend, they have kids, but they're not married. And so that was a whole other dynamic too. Like once he was around for a while, like, oh, okay. And so he's, my son, like, that's not da da da. That's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You gotta still respect that that's the choice that she made, that it's, who she wants to be with. So it is, it's a whole nother dynamic. And, even like you said, I think when they finally sat down and had a conversation, it was all four of us. It was real weird. Like it was like, okay, we're gonna all meet and have this conversation. And it was like for him, like I could see it in his face. It was like it was awkward for him, Like I've been there from the very beginning, but I understood where he was coming from because I remember early on where there would be some conversations and it'd be like, excuse me. And it's like, is it really your place? But it's like, okay, I'd just like to, chime in here. So, I could tell he was in like that phase when we had that, that come together meeting. So definitely there'll always be different dynamics, if for whatever reason, if her and this guy doesn't work out and she gets with someone else, that's a whole nother dynamic. But like you said, it's just always evolving, always, it's always changing. I always say it's never a dull moment, that's for sure.
Man, that is for sure. That is for sure.
So both of y'all have talked about this too, a little bit about building the relationships with the children. And, we kind of talked about briefly, Jade, when, you've got 7 kids, 9 different personalities in your house at all times. Do you have like a schedule for like one-on-one time with each kid? Or do you just kind of, because I know you talked about a schedule, but feel kind of out who needs that one-on-one moment at that time?
Yeah, so beginning in my mind, I was like, well, Riley gets one-on-one time with her dad alone, London when she goes with her mom, she gets her own time, and like other kids, the 12-year-old, that's her youngest. So I'm like, they all get individual time. They don't need it from us. And I just realized it's not the case. This is a great example. So my 9-year-old, she's very busy, more so than any of the other children. She's all over the place. And we even go to counseling all the time. We were like, something wrong? Like, and it was like attention seeking behavior. So she's doing stuff for attention. And, she kind of abruptly was like, oh, I'm not the only child anymore. And not only am I not the only child, the baby. Not only am I not the baby, I have 2 younger siblings. Throw me for a loop. So I already don't live with my mom. I got this new lady. Because, when we were dating, like, we didn't do the intermingling the kids or none of that. Like, it was like when I got pregnant, it was like, boom, here we are. We didn't do a lot because I was really strict on, I'm not going to introduce Riley if I don't know where this is going. Riley's never met anyone. Her dad and Mark are the only 2 people she's ever known. And with his kids, I was like, I don't know them. I don't want to be another face. So either, you know what I mean? So I was really, really big for us. And so our 9-year-old, she's really busy. Been around since she was about 5. And, first it was like, okay, just trying to structure or whatever, but still a little difficult. She's still sweetest little girl ever, but rambunctious. And so we were talking about it, and Mark's like, well, do you think you're mean to her? And I'm like, no, but I am hard on her because as of 9, I start to be a certain way because she's 9. And so, but I'm basing that off of my 11-year-old, which, she's a whole different kid. She grew up differently. I'm a different parent than her mom. So to me, some of the stuff that she does is like really crazy. And so the other day I just had to talk to her and I was like, listen, I don't want you to think I'm sorry if you think I'm being mean to you because I'm not. I really love you. I love you just like I love all the other kids. But I do, expect certain things from you. But going forward, I will make sure that like I check myself and I'm talking to you maybe more calm because yelling at kids doesn't always work. But that's how you know I'm serious when I raise my voice. And I was just talking to her and I'm just like, maybe we just really need to have this conversation. And by the end of it, she's like crying. So I'm like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? Like, did I do something wrong? She's like, I'm just so happy. Like, I love you too. And Mark's like, y'all don't ever just, sit down. But I take them to school. We have our conversation. So I'm like, no, it's not a tradition. Like, come lay in the bed and cuddle. Like, we don't do that. I don't even do that with Riley. Like, that's just not who I am. I have to get better. But I was like, but we do spend time together. So just with that being said, I'm like, we just need to be like, sometimes it's not scheduled. Sometimes if I'm going to the store, I'll be like, yeah, come on, you can go. Or, hey, I'm about to polish my nails, come here, let me do this to you so I can talk to you or whatever. So yes, I try to schedule as much as possible. But when I have them on the weekends when everyone's here, that's really our like bonding time for us together. We all do something to create memories or whatnot. So we are strategic about trying to do it as much as possible. But really, it's just like random. Like, oh wait, which one went last time? Okay, now it's your turn, and we're gonna go do this and we're gonna do that. But I have to tell myself I can't feel bad because there will be times like I know that Riley, who's my biological child, would feel like, well, we don't do anything because it was just me and her for a long time. And so we went from that to me always trying to be inclusive. Everyone's included. And she's like, no, I just want to do this with you. Like, I just want to do this with you. And I would feel bad, but I'm like, I can't feel bad because they get to go spend time with their moms, and then when they're here, when our kids time, they get to spend time with them. So I have to make sure that I do it even with our babies. So it's just very important to, however you can do it, whether you write down a strict schedule or you just be like, oh, well, I'm about to go run errands. This can come with me, or I'm going to go do this. Now, my son, who's 18, playing Fortnite or something, him teaching me a game about as much bonding time as we get. But he's learning to drive, so that's normally our thing. Teach him how to drive because nobody else has the patience. So, like, that'll be our thing. Like, come on, get in the car. We're going to go run around the block. And he's like, well, little girl problems. But it's just us being intentional. Both of us have to be, like, more intentional. And being business owners and all that, we're always go, go, go. Sometimes just, like, calm down. Go sit outside with your kid. Go like the fire pit or something and just do something with them one-on-one. It is difficult. You just have to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
This next thing I had here is talking about counting your blessings. So let's just talk about how your blended families have been blessings. Like what life lessons have you learned or things you've been able to realize about yourself and help yourself grow from being in that type of scenario?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Start off, Britt.
Sure. For me, I would say a life lesson or a blessing for me is just being able to see the other side. So we always tell my son, like, look, you get to see both sides. Like, that in and of itself is, I don't want to say a superpower, but that's an advantage you have over a lot of people. Some people just know, again, growing up, I only knew one thing, only saw one thing. So I did not have a lot of exposure. It's like he has exposure to essentially two completely different worlds. And so it's good because you see, it helps to build character and it helps to also, mature him. So that's one of the blessings I would say. I'm trying to think if I could think of anything else. Really just having to be able to, for me, it's like to be able, the blessing of just being a parent in general, being a mom in general, to be able to pour into my children and, to give to them, like Jade said, understand that they both need different things, and being able to manage that and understand that and, really fill those gaps for them, because, even though they literally are a lot of like, they are, so my kids are 10 years apart, 10 days and 10 years apart, and a girl and a boy. But they're both Libras. They both love affection, and so I think you kind of touched on it, Jay. I'm not affectionate at all. But like my daughter, she doesn't care. Like, oh, you don't like to be in touch? Here I come. And it's like, oh. Whereas like my son, like, for him, it's like he does that more so with his father. But even now, he'll just come and like lay on top of me. I'm like, bro, you're like 6'2". Why are you on me? He's like, I just felt like I wanted to have that affection. It's like, this is weird. So, it's the blessing of, honestly, for me, it's the blessing of it not feeling like, quite frankly, for it not feeling like a blended family. That to me is the blessing that we are just, have grown so close and are, so together that, I feel like we don't miss a beat. Like I said, it's definitely not perfect over here. I would never ever sit here and lie and tell anybody that it's a perfect situation. It is not perfect by any means, but it's just a blessing that we are so close. And again, my son knows that he can come to me for any and everything. Quite frankly, I even tell people God forbid if it didn't work out with me and my husband, that's still my son. To what I'm saying, to the wheels fall off, that's my baby. So um, I think that's the blessing of it all. Just being able to pour into another child, and like I said, and then the fact that he does get to see two parts of the world. I think that me and Stephanie had a conversation earlier about, like, once I went to college, that was my first time ever being a minority, in freaking 18 years. So for him, it's like he's been exposed to so many different situations at such a young age that I think he goes into the world just being an even more dynamic person than the average child or the average man. So
Man, that was some power there. I like that, Britt. um, um, I think it- number one, I always tell them, I'm so glad I got you guys because I could have got the worst kids. Like some of my nieces, my blended family, I'm like, woo, I'm glad that I didn't get that one because I wouldn't know how to handle myself. I'm like, at the end of the day, I could have got worse kids that were real life being crazy. I didn't accept, my daughter, and I didn't accept the younger babies, the ones that could have been just causing issues. And I'm so grateful that they didn't. Even at the beginning when it was like a little awkwardness, still respectful, still, you know what I mean? I'm grateful for the ones that have. It could have been worse. And yeah, they get on my nerves. All my kids get on my nerves.
yeah.
But I am so grateful for them. They've taught me patience. They taught me that I can handle a lot more than I give myself credit for. People are always like, well, how do you do it? I'm like, honestly, it's day to day. I don't know. I try to schedule everything out, and it's the day to day. I'm grown as a person because I will be totally honest and transparent. There were times I would dread when it would be time for us all to be together. I would be like, oh my gosh, because they don't know how to clean up and they don't listen. And it would be like a dreadful thing to me. And I hate to kind of admit that, but I'm like, it'd be like, ooh, okay, they're coming over this weekend. Like, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. And I'll come over and it's only 2 days. And, I'm giving myself pep talks and all that. And there was like this issue with like my daughter like being accepted a little bit at the beginning or whatever. But the fact that we've all grown past that and like that's their sister and they love the babies. Like they are some great siblings and I couldn't have asked for anything better than that. It's taught me that I don't know what I'm doing all the time, even though I think I know what I'm doing all the time. My way of parenting is not always right. The way that I was brought up is not always how everyone else was brought up. And to see parenting styles from the lenses of not only my husband, but also everyone I'm co-parenting with, and seeing like, okay, I was brought up in a very strict household, this, and that's what worked for us, but it's not going to work for our kids. So trying to figure out what works in our house and marking out how to blend our styles together and kind of note like, okay, these are important key points and all that other stuff. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. We have a great time. I always have babysitters. That is amazing. They're great. I wouldn't change it for the world. And even though you get some naysayers and you get people like, you did, Dad have my best friend. She's like, I don't want to. Looking at your life, I don't want to date anybody with kids. And I'm like, I feel you. Because it takes a strong individual and a certain person to learn how to truly love other people's kids. That's what people don't truly understand. Like, it's not like, oh, we were one big happy family. Even my brother and my brother-in-law, my sister, they just got married in December, and they're blended. And so I'm telling her like, okay, all that girls, we're gonna go get our nails done and stuff. They gonna take advantage of that. They ain't gonna be mad when they gotta clean up, and you're gonna be like, oh, so I took you to get your hair done and nails, and we didn't do this. And you can't even clean the kitchen. I was like, you gotta just be the parent that you were with your son. And everything else, everybody else is gonna fall into place. They'll learn, but your husband also has to be on your side as well. You know what I mean? So it's beautiful. It's common, way more common than people give it credit for. It's not something that shouldn't be like shared or discussed or talked about. Yeah, we all blended up. I mean, people are really fortunate. You know what I mean? When they're able to, just be with their parents. Hold on. I did. You told me to. Oh, okay, smell it.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. For some reason,
No
when
worries.
we got stuff to do, they can't figure shit out. I mean, stuff out.
You're all right. Moms in real life.
Hello.
Well, listen, wife life. Let's talk about the wife life now. It's
Hello.
well, listen, wife life. Let's talk about the wife life now. It's something totally different. But yeah, blending families is beautiful. It is common. It's a great thing. You can love somebody else's kids as much as you love your own. And I think my biggest thing and how I look at it is if I don't teach them, I aspire to be like, oh, so my mom or my stepmom or Jade or whatever they call me to their friends. Oh yeah, she told me this, this, and this. Like I want them to learn from me. So I'm like, I don't care if you don't learn. That's all I tell them. I don't care if you don't remember anything else I say. Remember this or that. My goal is to help them really be like the best individuals and humans that they can be. That's without me being like, oh, that's just my stepmom or that's my dad's wife or whatever. No, we getting through this together. So if we going through breakups, we going through this together. We trying to get into college, we're going through this together. I want to teach you how to operate. You know what I mean? As our beautiful Black kids, and that's just like my biggest thing with my blended family.
Exactly.
Oh,
that's for sure.
It's interesting. I mean, one thing I see that we all three actually have in common is that we don't like to be touched, which is very interesting to me. To have these children and be raised in these families in this world where we have to provide extra affection because they're not going to get it out in these streets. It's not going to happen. I did want to, Jade, before we shut this down, I wanted to show a picture of your family or two, if that's all right with you, while you kind of give us a breakdown of some of your entrepreneurial things, because we want to let the people know about Miss Hughes, what she's doing out here. And point I want to make too, which goes back to building trust with the counterparts. Friends here on the podcast know that I do a web design business. But what friends here on the podcast don't know is you have literally sent mother of one of your children to me so that she can get her business up and going. That speaks volumes to your relationship, to how you are supposed to do this blended family thing. It's not just, okay, they're in your life just for that child. You want them to do the best that they can do, because that's only going to trickle down to that child that is also in your life that you love and care about. So I want to give you credit for that, because I understand not a lot of people. I don't know any people aside from you that are out here putting the counterparts on.
Listen, I really believe in her business and her vision, and I'm like, she's so talented, and so I'm like, girl, listen, let me what you need. Like, I think it's great. I love it. I love what she's doing, and why not support them? I mean, at the end of the day, we all here to support each other. I love strong Black women. We all need to support each other anyway. So
that's right. Like you said, we are a village. Oh, look at y'all.
Right.
So this was Christmas. I'm gonna go with. So that's your whole tribe there. Yes, I think that's 9. Can I count? 2, 4, 6. Yep, 8, 9. Love it.
That's the whole game.
All right. So Jade, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of let some people know down here on the ticker some of your information. But as we said, you are an entrepreneur, and you have. Yes. Oh wait, I spelled that wrong. I'm gonna fix that. 2 businesses that actually our listeners here could probably benefit from reaching out to you about. You've got the right. You've got the credit rehab business, as well as the consultant business. Yes. So, or not consultant. She has tax consultant.
Tax consultant. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think she's having a little bit of technical difficulty. She'll rejoin us in a sec. But basically, Jade provides assistance with building your credit back up. If you've, had some incidents in the past, or you might be starting out and they got you with those, them early credit cards they told you to get during college, and you still dealing with the aftermath of that. Um, you can find her businesses on Instagram. She also has websites, and I believe their links are in the bios for that.
And I'll just read out the Instagram pages for them, for those who are listening back to the recording. So we have I am Jade Hughes, and that's I am JADEHUGHES. Then we have I am Premier Tax Consultants, and that's PREMIERTAXCONSULTANTS. And finally, we have at Premier Credit Rehab, PREMIERCREDITREHAB. So those are the 3 Instagram pages that you can find Jade.
Yep. And Jay, why don't you give them a little info about your Premier Tax Consultants? I kind of did a little summary on credit rehab, but we know we in that tax season, and with all that funniness of 2020, go ahead and let us know what we need to know, Jade.
Yes. So, Premier Tax Consultants, Black-owned tax company. Not only are we tax preparers, we also do, bookkeeping. We help small businesses keep up with their quarterly taxes. Biggest thing to know, guys, be patient. The IRS is not opening up until February the 12th, which previous years they opened up normally the end of January. So that means people started receiving their refunds middle of February. Now you probably won't start receiving a refund until about March. Be patient. Make sure you have all of your paperwork to give to your tax preparer. It's going to be vital this year because we're having to wait so long to file. That gives everyone ample amount of time to be able to get all their stuff. You don't want your tax refund to be held up because you don't actually have the paperwork. Anybody can get audited. Last year, they did a huge thing where people had to call in, do a verification, and that held up your tax return. So basically, just make sure you have all your documentation. Find a tax preparer you can trust. Getting $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, which people are going to start promising because COVID, people who are self-employed, or if you had to take time off of work for COVID, there are some credits. Don't let somebody sell you a dream and say you're going to get $17,000 back from the government for your tax refund and you didn't work or put anything like that. If it sounds fishy, don't do it, because at the end of the day, guys, you are responsible for your tax return. You sign off on it. They're not going after that tax company. They're coming after you. And let me tell you what I know firsthand. After April 15th, most tax preparers you cannot get in contact with. That's not the case at Premier Tax. However, you don't want to be sitting there waiting. We've literally had clients just get their tax returns in November and December from 2019 taxes. So guys, find somebody you trust. Make sure that it doesn't sound crazy. If you're used to getting $2,000 back and they tell you they can get $10,000, I don't care how many kids you have, y'all, let's be smart, okay? Because now we got this new administration. A lot of tax laws are changing. Make sure you are interviewing your tax preparer like they got to know what they're talking about. Don't look at that bottom dollar, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the screen says about what your refund could be. It's all about what's actually going to hit an account and if you're going to get audited. So that's the tax game, guys.
Thank you. Ooh, that was a whole word right there. Cause I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I need to stop tripping. I thought I was gonna do it myself. The TurboTax ain't gonna do it this year.
Listen, no, not with everything that they just with everything. And then a lot of people. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. Stimulus payments, guys. I know you probably, if you have a date and it says January the 6th, people are just now starting to get those tax stimulus payments. Be patient on that. If you do not receive it by February the 5th, and this is the most recent update, then you're going to file it on your tax return, because you will get it back with your refund. So if your tax preparer is not asking you how much
was your stimulus for your first one and your second one, that's not who you need to go with, because it is mandatory that we put that on there. You're not getting taxed for it. They just want to make sure everyone gets it. And no matter if you owe a government agency like child support or student loans or anything like that, it will not affect you. So everyone should be able to get a stimulus. And if you didn't get the first one, go file your taxes. If you didn't file taxes a year before, go file them this year so you can at least get your stimulus payment.
Thank you for that.
Good job, Jay. Look, we might have to do a whole nother episode just on taxes.
Listen, it's so much stuff people don't know. I'm here with the tax information.
Look, Jay, you already know I'm gonna be calling you. So I'm just waiting for him to get his W-2.
Listen, go ahead and run them. Look, yeah, and use your W-2. Don't use your last paycheck stuff. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Jade. And guys, please, if you want to, follow her life, learn more about her business, it's tax season. After tax season, look, we got to get the credit together too. So go see her about that as well. I know you have, I don't know if you had another podcast you're going to be featured on coming up, I think, about taxes, or maybe they can watch the replay of that.
Yeah. We try to put stuff live on our Facebook page, Premier Tax Consultants on Facebook also. We try to give as much information as we can on there. I have to check to see when our other podcast is for that. And then we're also starting a podcast, my husband and I, and we will be talking about a lot of stuff, and taxes and stuff will be one of them. Really excited about it, guys. It's going to drop February the 3rd. I think that's the first Wednesday.
Oh, that's my birthday. Go ahead, girl. You better get February 3rd.
Yes. So we're really excited about that. You guys tune in. We talk about a lot of relationship stuff, although that's not the end all be all. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, but our whole theme for the month of February is going to be love. We're going to talk about what it means to love yourself, love your spouse, love your kids, and love your community.
Love it. Congratulations on the podcast. We'll definitely be tuning in and supporting. So
absolutely. And anyone that knows Jay from, how I know him from school or anything, y'all be going on live, you and your husband, on them Facebook lives, and I just can't. So y'all better tune into that podcast. Like, y'all a trip. I love it.
It's going to be way juicier than the lives, okay? Way juicier.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Check us out. Thank you guys so much. I really enjoyed the conversation. Y'all got me out of being a mom for an hour and a half. I'm so hype about that. So everybody should be in the bed. We'll see how that goes.
All right. Good luck to you. All right.
Thanks,
bye.